Accutane. Okay, this video is titled Halfway through my treatment, 3 months I'm currently on. And that's because the average or regular treatment of Accutane is usually between 4 to 6 months. So at the longest, it may be 6 months, which means I'm about halfway. So this is the treatment I have left. In this video, I wanted to go through everything Accutane related. I have notes, just bullet points so I don't forget to mention anything in particular. So before I update where I'm up to now, we need to backtrack to where I began. So I've had cystic acne for a very, very long time, and it has been the center of my life for so long. And not in a vain sense, it's the only thing I can think of, and that beauty is so important and that I should have flawless, amazing skin. It's not like that, okay? What happens is, when you have acne, hormonal acne, whatever it may be, cystic acne, it comes and you deal with it. It comes and you carry on dealing with it. And before you know it, a decade has passed and some things have helped your acne. I've got videos on antibiotics and how that did help my acne to an extent. Certain topical creams that have helped manage my acne, reduce the amount and the inflammation. And I get comments that are also about lifestyle and try exercising and try eating more greens or experimenting and seeing if you've got some sort of intolerance. I have done it all. I can say that. I'm a 28-year-old adult. I have tried many things for my acne throughout my treatment, and it has landed me here to Accutane, which often is a last resort, and it certainly was a last resort for me because Accutane is not easy, which we're gonna dive into in this video, but it's also a lot mentally, physically. It's a strong drug. It's not something that you're just prescribed. It's not something that should just be like, oh, here you go, take this really intense drug. So, how my acne was: red, inflamed, painful, chronic, meaning it was constant, it never ended, it never went away. I had little glimmers of hope where I had clearer skin, but I never actually had full skin clarity for over a decade. And when my acne cleared, I still had post-inflammatory marks and scarring now, indented scarring. So also you've got to think of it from this perspective. Without Accutane and something that's really kind of getting to the root cause, in the sense that it's shrinking those oil glands so they cannot overproduce that excess oil, right? Where bacteria gets trapped and leading to more and more spots. There is a hormonal element there. And I'm hoping if you're here, you also are aware of the myths that it's not just about hygiene and it's not just about you must eat really bad. There's so many layers to it. It's very complex. And I really genuinely hate when people are like, you just need to cut out dairy and you'll be fine. I'm sorry, but if that worked for you, well done. You cut out dairy and your acne went away for good. Amazing. Been there, done it, did nothing for me. So when people are recommending things like that's the actual thing that works and that's the only thing that works, I have problems with that, really big problems. But anyway, so my name is Casey. I am currently on Accutane 60 milligrams. You can check out my Instagram where I'm having more regular updates to how my skin is looking day to day rather than waiting for these check-ins. But I am also sharing my journey here on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. So within that, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of my videos because I am documenting the journey. So these are what Accutane looks like. 60 mg for me is probably my max because it's based on your weight times whatever. I can't remember the equation, how they work it out. So it's really important to take your Accutane with food, and the food has to be quite fatty. Now when we say fatty, you might be thinking like a really greasy cheeseburger. Yes, that does work, but there's also healthy fats, don't forget. So you can have it with avocado, peanut butter, a fatty fish like a salmon, and with that you're going to help it absorb better into your body, and therefore it may help with better results in terms of it actually being effective, right? This is just me personally, I track what I'm eating at the moment. I'm on a little health journey, and I'll probably be sharing that on the second channel. I'm literally saying so much right now. You can tell I've not filmed forever. I'm let me tell you everything. I'm on a little health journey and I've been tracking what I've been eating. I've done this for a couple of years on and off, just when I feel like it's necessary. And with tracking, I can see that some things I thought would be fatty enough to have my Accutane with are really not. And I think the recommended amount is around 20 grams. I'll put it on the screen so I'm not just chatting rubbish. 20 grams of fat to take your Accutane, so a good meal. Some people I've seen just get a spoon of peanut butter and eat it, but that's not for me. So the foods I mentioned here are definitely my go-to. Dark chocolate or chocolate in general is also quite good. I have only missed about 2 doses of my Accutane the whole treatment. So 3 months in, let's see where we're up to. Quick side note, pregnancy tests. Every month, pregnancy test to prove that you are not pregnant, because when you are on Accutane, you cannot get pregnant. It will harm an unborn baby. There's a whole contraceptive element of being on Accutane as well, which I feel like I dived into in another video, so I will card and link that if you want to check that out and understand what I'm doing personally. For me, like I've said, Accutane is very much a last resort. I have tried many treatments, and I am hoping that Accutane is the thing that actually clears my skin. I've had comments from people telling me that they have had miracles with Accutane, they've dealt with the rubbish of the journey, and then they really saw the results in the end. I also, I scroll on Reddit and I've seen people that have had horrible experiences, and even after Accutane, the acne might come back, or they're dealing with other side effects or issues that they believe are due to Accutane. I've reached a point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot deal with this acne any longer. It's not just the acne itself, it's the scarring. It's this constant cycle will only further damage my skin. Like, I've already got a load of scarring, indentations, kind of scarring, because of a constant cycle of acne and scarring and indentation and inflammation on the skin that I've been dealing with for 10 years. 10 years, like that's just wild to me. But having said that, I think there's a whole other side of me and confidence and understanding skin that came with this whole journey. Let's start with side effects, because from month one, I was like, okay, yeah, my skin is dry, my lips are dry. They were the most obvious things to me. My skin was peely, dry, but I have not seen it get terrible, because when I was on tretinoin, which I mentioned in like every video, but when I was on tretinoin here, this is when I was on tretinoin. I'll put the year as well because I can't remember it. I've been on and off tretinoin. So isotretinoin, Accutane, tretinoin is a topical vitamin A. So isotretinoin is the oral vitamin A that's very strong. Tretinoin dried the hell out of my skin, like nothing I've ever seen. And I thought that me being on Accutane would be like that again. This is me removing makeup when I got my tretinoin dry skin. I thought Accutane was going to do that to me. My skin has actually been bearable. As in, I know it's dry, it has changed. My makeup sits differently, looks a bit icky sometimes. I get peeling and flaking if I'm buffing and essentially kind of exfoliating, just doing makeup. With that, I'm managing it fine because I've had worse. Do you know what I mean? But I see how some people have gone from really oily to this drier, and it's like, whoa, what's going on? But personally for me, I've dealt with a lot of drying acne medications, so this isn't like a big shock, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this dryness. However, the lips, I have never dealt with dryness on the lips like this. Peeling. When I tell you I could literally just pick up my lips and like get off a string of just dead skin, I could. Obviously I don't want to pick up my lips because then they'll bleed and it'll just be worse, but I could definitely just pick off all the dry skin. So the crusty lips are real, and it's not just that, it's also it cracks in the corner here, so it's like an actual cut in the skin. And this isn't all the time, but I think sometimes if I've just stretched that area too much, because obviously we're talking, we're eating, we're yawning, at night we might be dribbling into these slits. I'm telling you everything. And they bleed, they're very sore, they like stick together almost sometimes, and then you gotta open it up. It's not fun. It's really hard to deal with because the lips are such like a central point of the face. It has made me more conscious of my lips. But Aquaphor is a go-to. I know I've seen people on here that like, Aquaphor hasn't done anything for me. Aquaphor helps me to manage it, but I haven't been able to like stop the dry lips, which kind of makes sense because when you're on a treatment that's causing something and making your lips very dry as a result of the treatment, then yeah, you've just got to kind of deal with it and try and use as much Accutane and Vaseline and any lip balms that you prefer on your lips. On the lips, I did see a dermatologist on TikTok mention that if you have, what is the word, cheilitis? If you have cheilitis, which is obviously like the chapped and cracked lips from Accutane in this case, they recommended fish oil, like the tablets. You have to be careful with fish oil though, because some of them will literally say like vitamin A, they will be fully just vitamin A. This is just the EPA and DHA. This is a super fish oil capsule provided highly concentrated omega-3 fatty acids, both EPA and DHA. So it's not like a just pure vitamin A. You need to get one that doesn't, it's like the fatty acids. And while we're on vitamins, I have also continued to take my vitamin D year round because in the UK, although it's hot and sunny right now, generally it's rainy, gloomy, dull, disgusting. So vitamin D is something I've just continued to use. And this could be helping with joints, because I have seen people saying that their joints ache from Accutane. I can happily say it's not happened to me. So something else that's very dry is my nose. I want to say after month 1 it got very dry, because I had dry eyes to begin with. My eyes have been okay, like as in how I feel and how I see and everything, because when you're on Accutane, every part of your body dries up. Like there's no, like this little slit in between your face and your ear was cracked and like bleeding for me because it was that dry. And I just never paid attention to that part of my body at all. But when it's painfully dry, you notice it. Yeah, the inside of your nose gets very dry. And I'll just be real with you. What happens is your bogies, right, which we all have, it's like we've got the mucous membranes and everything on our nose. It keeps it nice and moist and just doing what it needs to do. It dries it out completely and you feel like you have little rocks up your nose. Aquaphor, Vaseline, not a lip balm that's like scented or anything, up your nose. With your finger or with a Q-tip, whatever you want, it helps, and it moistens those bogies, help bring them out, and you can like actually blow your nose and it comes out rather than you having these rocks stuck up your nose. I was unwell last week, so I had like a flu cold. Sometimes when you're on certain medications, it can make you more susceptible to other illnesses, like generally just like talking about cold or flu, because your immune system is doing bits. So with that, I've only been ill once, and it was kind of due because the previous time I was unwell was at the beginning of the year, January. We're now in August, so it's a good 8 months for me to be ill again. And that kind of wiped me out for a week. But anyway, the point of that is my nose was very dry, and naturally my nose was running, and it was a really red soreness under the nose from where you've been wiping it so much and just feeling disgusting. I went to bed, I woke up and I had a nosebleed, my first nosebleed. That is a side effect as well, because the nose gets so dry on Accutane that it then bleeds.
When editing this, hi from the future, I noticed that I did not mention the purge. That is because I did not purge. I've been getting questions, DMs, asking me about purging. How much did I purge? Did I purge at all? So purging is of course more acne coming to the surface because Accutane might be doing what it's doing. Honestly, I did not get a flare up of acne. My doctor did say that the first month and second month can be difficult. It's adjusting. People find it tough, but I did not find it too difficult, to be honest with you, and that's probably because my idea of what it was going to be horrific didn't meet that expectation, which made it much more manageable.
Okay, what I'm going to touch on really quickly is mood, because part of me going on Accutane, one of the fears I had was around mood, because whilst it's unclear, Accutane has links to mood being getting more depressed, feeling lower in mood, and even suicide. So from a mood perspective, for me, everything has been the same. I've not noticed any behavior changes. Also, I can talk as somebody that has had to really adjust their lifestyle in order to aid mood stability. That's a way of saying it, because I've never been clinically diagnosed with depression. I've never been diagnosed with anxiety, but I've definitely struggled with my mood. I've done a little bit of counselling before, and I've done cognitive behavioural therapy, CBT, to help with my mood. I started exercising because that definitely helped me, in particular running and cardio and just getting that oomph. Journaling helps me massively. I journal currently I journal every day, and changing external factors that were impacting me. I was working a really rough job when I was in a real state in my mood, but generally mood stability has been something I've been working on for a long time to get to where I am. So as you can imagine, with that, I was very fearful of going on Accutane and tracking back. Same with birth control, because that's one thing that I knew would really fuck up my mood system, right? I'm telling you as someone that's dealt with low mood, but I can't tell you from somebody's perspective that has had depression or anxiety clinically. And the doctors are very good at checking your mood and where you're at and like what you're physically going through. A big one that I can't believe I almost didn't mention, the acne itself. The acne for me, 3 months have gone by. I felt like it wasn't really doing anything. It was just normal how it was. I was getting the same sort of breakouts. Here's the thing though, with doxycycline, an antibiotic that I had last year, for 3 months it felt like it did fuck all. And then towards the end of the treatment, it was like, oh, okay, you actually did a lot. Here was my doxycycline results, by the way. There's a video, skincare. Within that, you can see that it actually did a lot. But I think when you're going through the process itself, it's hard to see. They're micro changes. It's not like your skin transforms overnight or even just in a month, but you definitely see it after a while when it's built up. When I look on Reddit and I see people's before and afters of Accutane, I'm like, how? Because their pigmentation is also gone, like their post-inflammatory erythema or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation is all like diminished. To my knowledge, Accutane works more on the active spots and bringing those down. And obviously, like I said, shrinking of oil glands, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, how have they got the pigmentation to go away? So I started researching and having a look. Reddit is the place to go, right? So I was looking on there and I was seeing that a lot of people were actually using other skincare. And I saw someone mention niacinamide and I was like, I've used niacinamide before. It does have the properties, I'll list the properties here, guys, that can help with post-inflammatory marks. So I pull out my Good Molecules 10% niacinamide acid. And I know 10% is a lot, right? Because I'm like, you literally only need 4% for it to do what it needs to do, especially Cassia, because you're on Accutane and you really don't need any additional skincare. But I pull it out anyway, and I'm like, but I'm gonna dilute it with my CeraVe lotion. All is good. Literally, after I'd been doing that for like 2 days, my skin was like, no, honey. This is irritation to me and I do not need it. I broke out into these little, I don't even know if it was a breakout, I think it might have been the hair follicles were irritated. These little bumps came onto my skin and I saw it and I was like, fuck. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that because that's the only thing that I changed up until that point. They went away literally within a day or two, so it was not a massive deal, thankfully. I stopped obviously using the niacinamide immediately. And I was still thinking, how are these guys getting rid of their post-inflammatory marks after Accutane? Because Accutane doesn't actually get rid of the marks, it just deals with the acne and changes the skin environment. So I'm still really confused. Just a disclaimer, I would recommend doing the basic skincare, have my skincare routine for Accutane live. All of a sudden, I'm seeing posts from 10 years ago, I'm seeing posts from this year, last month, rose hip oil. Everybody's been recommending it because it's one of the things that you can kind of use whilst you're on Accutane because it's an oil, it's not like an actual active. So only now at 3 months, my acne I've started to see is actually less. I had my time of the month and I noticed only 2 spots, just 2 spots. For me, that is amazing because I would definitely have more of a cluster going on or just here and there as the week leads up to my period and then a bit less. So to just have 2 is really good and I can feel that my skin is much smoother. Sometimes I used to run my fingers over my face and I could feel the spots under the skin that were ready to come at some point. Whereas now it feels so much smoother, but I am seeing a difference. Let's do a little before and after as well, because I think, you know, I've shown you my skin here when it was like at its real peak. Doxy really brought that down and other topical creams helped me manage it to a point. But like I said, it was this chronic cycle that was never ending as to why I went towards Accutane. So when I started Accutane, my skin looked like this. You can see the spots, the pigmentation is my pigmentation has subsided and I think that's because of the less inflammation. And this is how it's looking now. So let's compare the two. Basically now what I'm seeing personally from when I look in the mirror is it's calming down. Like it looks less inflamed and of course there's less activity on the skin. Like pores have shrunk. Shrunkly dunk. Apparently this is temporarily whilst you're on Accutane, but I'm loving it, especially on the nose. Lastly, we're going to talk about SPF. It's in the little leaflets they give you with these. Sensitivity to sunlight. And it is summer right now, so the sun is out. When I tell you I am wearing so much SPF and my hats and my freckles and everything are still coming to the surface, like freckles that I have not seen in a long time, it is because of Accutane. I will be certain to do shorts on my SPFs because otherwise there's no point. Like, I need to share with you guys. I have a few that I just want to share with you really quickly and why I've been liking them whilst on Accutane. So this is SPF 50 Photo Damage Defense Sunscreen from Dermatica. You guys probably know I've done many videos on Dermatica. That was one of the treatments that was really helping manage my acne. This is a pump. It's a 50. It's very nice. I'm wearing it today. I do 2 pumps, which is a lot, but I need the SPF. So yeah, gifted, but was not told to create content or say anything in particular. For me, I like it because it is moisturizing. I can feel that. It's a more moisturizing SPF, by the way. So if you're dealing with acne and you prefer more mattifying or like gel formulations, then this isn't for you. Then we move on to La Roche-Posay. So I have the 2 shaka fluids here. I've got one tinted and one that's just untinted. So let's start with the regular one. The last La Roche-Posay video I did was like a good 2 years ago, I think, so I might have to like come back, but definitely do shorts. And since then they have made this non-tinted SPF fragrance free, because it used to be fragrance. So you shake it and it's a very light runny SPF that is very easy to blend and feels light on the skin. So yeah, I like it. Then I have the same again, which is tinted, and this tint works well for me now, worked well for me before. I don't know if they've changed the color, but again, I will happily do some shorts to really show what this looks like on the skin. Lastly, on sun protection, sun hats. This isn't on properly, but this is a UPF sun hat from Solberry. Solberry create UPF clothing, hats, gloves, t-shirts, and UPF is ultra protection. What does
UPS stands for United Parcel Service. Ultraviolet protection factor.
Their brims are specifically a certain measurement that's going to actually give you full protection for your face, and obviously the actual material is UPF. This is not an ad, but if they ever want to sponsor me, I already have quite a couple of their hats. That one's reversible, and then this one's a bit more of a lighter one, just kind of a cute little pop on and go. This is the brand. And I would really recommend a hat. I personally like the bucket hats, but they have other styles. It's extra protection that you're gonna need if you're on Accutane or other acne medications, guys, because it's just not Accutane. Any other medication I've been on for my acne is also relating to sensitivity to the sun. Doxycycline, benzoyl peroxide, tretinoin, adapalene, all of them. There we are. I feel like that is everything I have to say on Accutane right now, 3 months. But if you have any particular questions on my Accutane journey or side effects or what I might have been dealing with, then please leave me a comment down below. Also, my second channel is not live. I don't have an actual video there yet, but I will put it down below if you want to check it out and follow for more lifestyle content and just chit chat videos that aren't necessarily skincare related. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Becoming pregnant, breastfeeding, driving using machines, dosage, mental health problems, all of the possible side effects, whether they're unknown frequency, rare, or very rare, but there are a lot.